there have been agitations in the past
Yes.
that, for instance, why should we still have the death sentence on our statute? When somebody commits, for instance, murder, the law is that if you are tried before a competent court of jurisdiction, normally the High Court, and then the jury, the 7-member jury, they find that you are guilty, and the decision has to be unanimous. If one person is dissenting, it cannot be. If the decision is made that you are guilty, the judge is required to impose, the life sentence. Yes, the death sentence. The question of how you should die, becomes another matter altogether. So, but a number of countries have moved away from what they call, is it a capital punishment?
Capital punishment.
Uh-huh. What is happening presently in Parliament is that the honourable member for Medina, my good friend Susu, has put before Parliament a bill which is seeking to repeal to scrap it entirely from our statutes. But mind you, the Constitution itself provides under Article 3 thereabout that where, for instance, you rise up against the authority of the state to overthrow the country, treason and all of those things, yes, you will be put to death. So the bill is not seeking to amend that. You understand? It's seeking to amend the criminal law provisions which impose the death penalty in the case of murder. And,
okay, I get it.
Yeah. So the matter is being considered by Parliament. Now, yesterday there was a second reading of that particular legislation, and then a number of MPs made contributions. One of the people who spoke so passionately about the legislation being proposed is the Honourable Avoka, MP for, forgotten his concept, it must be Zebila, MP for Zebila, if my memory serves me correctly. And he spoke about Zebila, why should a person who, for instance, goes out there to just recklessly kill someone without regard for the person's, family, the fact that the person is a breadwinner, just senselessly kill somebody. And the argument is that the person who killed the person has human rights and that he should not be put to death merely because there are human rights that should be observed. Why, the person who was killed, did he or does he not have human rights? That's one argument that, some people take, that, hey, you cannot do that. When you kill, there must be an eye for an eye. But you see, the more progressive view is that we have seen throughout the world cases of miscarriage of justice.
Yes.
Where a person is brought before court, tried, and the courts return a verdict that, yes, you committed crime A, so you should go and be killed. The person is subsequently executed only for DNA evidence or some technology to emerge later to prove that the person who was actually put to death
was the wrong person.
In which case, when the person is already dead, you cannot now go and exhume the person and, like Jesus Christ, seek to raise the man from the dead. So once it is impossible in those cases to correct the wrong, let us create a legal regime that takes away the killing of people on the basis of an order from a court. This particular one is proving to be somewhat divisive because some people take the view that, look, when you kill somebody, you should be put to death. We all saw a recent video of how some people slaughtered, police officer. This is without prejudice to what's happening in the court. But people have strong feelings about things like that.
Yeah.
So if the right people are arrested and they are put before court and subsequent actions announced, the expectation is that certain things should happen consistent with the law. The fact, too, is that although this has been on our statutes, for a long time now, our courts, although are sending people into to be slaughtered, lawfully, our presidents have not signed the warrants for these things to happen. So we are watching that space to see how, that private member's bail would mature. Yeah. But it is an important discussion that we need to have, whether we should be killing people who killed others.